Against the backdrop of the Food Security Declaration, Nigeria's food system grapples with challenges like weak infrastructure, post-harvest losses, and malnutrition. Urgently required is a holistic approach involving sustainable farming, rural infrastructure investment, and upgraded storage and distribution. Embracing sustainable agriculture, efficient supply chains, and nutrition education can fortify food security and economic progress. This session tagged Beyond Hunger, Empowering a Food Security Agenda, Removing Barriers to Investments, Collective Action Against Corruption, Role of Behavioral Insights, is part of the program highlighting steps to be taken by Nigeria to address food security challenges.
I believe this will encourage and renew our hope in terms of both the public policies and the private sector's response that will put more money, that will generate more investment. This is the clearest evidence that is working together.
Mr. President's strategy is heavily dependent on private investment, domestic and foreign, and he's putting in place the macroeconomic situation. He's putting in place basically the foundations in terms of stabilizing interest rates, exchange rate, and putting in place basic infrastructure such that the private sector will be empowered, will be encouraged, and will be incentivized.
The private sector are the engine and dynamo of any economy. So one is very pleased to see that at a time like this, they've come together to engage both amongst themselves and also with governments. My prayer really is that it doesn't end as a talk shop. Actionable resolutions have to come in from all the different stakeholders, governments and private sector, and then they should challenge each other.
Stakeholders say encouraging the use of modern machinery and equipment such as tractors, harvesters, and irrigation system can significantly boost agricultural productivity, while government can also provide subsidies or loans to farmers to facilitate the adoption of mechanization and promotion of efficient farming practices.
We're talking about everybody. The man who is in a village and has never left his village but needs to put food on his table. We're asking government, how do we ensure that when that man wakes up in the morning and he goes to his farm to put food on the table for his family, he will come back home with the food that he has gone out to look for. So for us, when we're talking about inclusion, we're talking about an all-encompassing plan as it relates to inclusion. And we wanted to hear from them what to expect in terms of the 8 priorities, because we've heard 8 priorities, but it's very high level. We're looking forward to getting a detailed implementation plan.
Now the 8 priorities say we will be $1 trillion economy by 2026. Fine. You know, these are good, ambitious targets, but how? So the word pathways in this year's summit now points to options. Can we define the steps, the policy, 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 policy.
We're committed to making it easier, particularly for the large businesses that work in Nigeria currently, because they move with an ecosystem that cascades into our MSMEs. So if they are well sorted out in terms of ease of doing business, by the time we harmonize the policies and we start implementing the particular pain points to unlock a pathway to productivity, then you have a situation where we have cascading productivity, which is what the Nigerian economy needs.
Because at the end of the day, government cannot do everything alone. Government cannot muster enough funds to revamp the economy. So the private sector must be brought into play right from the beginning, not only at the stage of implementation.
So I think the entire private sector today is inspired. We're excited about the prospects. We're excited about the clarity of understanding from this administration on what needs to be done. And we'll work as partners to make Nigeria succeed.
A lot needs to be done, but I think it's early days.
And with the government posturing to cooperate with the private sector, I think we'll be able to chart a common way forward. I think it's the right thing to do. That's one of the things. The government is willing to listen to the input from the private sector.
With concerted efforts and collaboration among government, civil society and international partners, a future where no Nigerian goes to bed hungry is within reach. For Business 24, I am Tokbe Alabi.